Greetings, hello. Welcome to the On to College Anchor Desk. This is sweet. I'm John Baylor, hello. Only thing missing, hair gel. We are going to gather once a month to talk about anything. Ask John anything about the college admission process, about the college application process. Today we're going to talk about FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, free application for federal student aid. This is the form you fill out to demonstrate your family's eligibility for need-based aid. You got to demonstrate your family's eligibility for need-based aid. You can't just say, hey, give me a bunch of dough. We don't have a lot of dough. We need dough. No, you got to demonstrate it. Just like we file tax forms to demonstrate what, in fact, we're going to, what we owe for taxes every year. We got to fill out the FAFSA every year to demonstrate our eligibility for need-based aid. There are two types of financial aid we want to know about. One is merit-based aid. You go out and you earn it. Grade scores on one extracurricular, grade scores on one extracurricular. And now need-based aid, you got to fill out the FAFSA to demonstrate it. But by the way, you want to maximize your need-based aid that a school is willing to give you, take care of the grade scores on one extracurricular. You can't just be a student who has eligibility for need-based aid. You also want to be sure to demonstrate, hey, I got decent grades, I got decent scores, okay? Now, filling out the FAFSA, it's not done by enough people. It's not done by enough people. We want to fill it out in part because last year, $2.6 billion of potential aid went unawarded. Unawarded because families who would have been eligible didn't know about the FAFSA or decided not to fill it out. You're going to want to fill it out. You're thinking, well, our family makes too much, we're not going to be eligible. Well, a lot of those merit-based aids awards I told you about, a lot of schools say you got to fill out the FAFSA before you're even eligible for those. So the FAFSA is helpful not just for illustrating your eligibility for need-based aid and winning need-based aid, but also taking care of one of the requirements that often schools will have when awarding merit-based aid. So be sure to talk to the schools you're interested in before you decide, oh, I don't need to fill out the FAFSA. All righty. Job one, the ABCs of the FAFSA. Job number one, you want to be sure to talk about federal aid. It's part of the discussion when determining ultimate costs. Not just the aid your school is going to give you, but also the federal aid you might be eligible for. Now, filling out the FAFSA can be pretty daunting if you're an employer. However, if you're an employee, filling out the FAFSA should be pretty simple. For business owners, the FAFSA is a little more complicated. Give yourself a little more time. Regardless, talk to a financial advisor, especially if you're a business owner, you have employees. You're going to want to talk to a financial advisor and make sure you fill it out wisely to maximize your eligibility for need-based aid. If you're an employee, you get a W-2. Shouldn't be that complicated. Either way, you probably want to chat with a financial advisor to make sure you're doing everything possible to maximize your eligibility for need-based aid. Basically, you want to ethically appear as poor as possible. Okay, you want to ethically appear as poor. When you fill out the FAFSA, you got to do it legally, you got to do it lawfully, you got to be sure you represent everything that you have, and that you want to. But ideally, you illustrate that you have a lot of eligibility for need-based aid. Now, apply early. So this is the first point. We got to apply early. Okay, the FAFSA is now available for filling out at the beginning of October. Beginning of October, get that thing filled out early October. So as we speak, we're already a couple weeks into it, but this is something we want to fill out in early October. Ideally, the sooner the better. Why? Because then you receive from the federal government, your expected financial contribution, your EFC, a little bit sooner. So you got an idea, whoa, we're expected to chip in more than we thought, or this is a little less common, whoa, we don't have to chip in as much as we thought we'd need to. So getting that EFC, your expected financial contribution, earlier can help you with your planning. And also for a lot of schools, they're going to start dishing out their need-based aid earlier. So it's kind of first come, first serve at some schools. Now selective colleges, Princeton, Harvard, Brown, Washington University, St. Louis, Grinnell, they're going to wait. And they're going to do it all for the most part in the spring, in some cases in December. But for the vast majority of colleges out there, they dole it out sooner. And the sooner you get your FAFSA filled out and you demonstrate your eligibility for need-based aid and you get your transcript in and you fill out your application, boom, they can start bidding for you. They want to lock you up. So the sooner the better. In fact, some studies out there suggest that if you fill out the FAFSA in the first 3 months of the school year. That's going to be, if you apply to school in September, October, and November, the first 3 months of the school year, and you take care of your FAFSA in October, you can receive as much as twice the grant money as those who wait. Why? It's a finite amount of money, and it's kind of first come, first serve. So apply earlier and fill out your application and get your file sooner, ideally in October, which is the first month you can file your FAFSA. Now, what financial data is it based on? It's based on the tax information from the prior year. So if you're going to fill out your FAFSA in October and file it in October of 2018, it can't be based on your 2018 income. That's not done yet. The year's not over yet. It's based on the prior year. So it's the 2017 year which dictates your eligibility for need-based aid. Well, that's already done. So for those of you seniors this year, going to be graduating in 2019, families filing your FAFSA in October, ideally at the latest November of 2018, you're basing, the eligibility is totally based on the prior year. So this is, what's relevant now is for students who are going to be going to school 2 years from now. So the finances that for 2018 will dictate 2 years from now. So if you're a family with a high school junior, this year really matters. This year, so we want to do everything possible this year, more on this in a moment, to maximize your eligibility for need-based aid. And also, for your child as a senior this year, what's happening now financially in your family will dictate the eligibility for need-based aid when your child is a sophomore. So everything is based on finances that are a couple years prior to your child actually getting into and going to the school. So if you fill it out in late 2018, it's based on the financial information of the prior year. That's 2017. You can easily populate your tax information onto your FAFSA form using the online IRS data retrieval tool. More information to do this is found at studentaid.ed.gov/sa/rs-drt-t-text. This can take your data on this can take your IRS data, your tax information data, and automatically populate your FAFSA. You're going to love how much time that can save. Also, you can practice. Okay, so use a pre-application worksheet to practice and ensure your information is secure, and that's the website for that. It's all on the FAFSA.ed.gov website. How can you calculate your own cost of attendance? Here's your true cost of attendance for each school. You don't want sticker shock in April. April brings rain and April brings tears because the family realizes for the first time, whoa, it's going to be that much dough. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be if we think ahead. And how do you dictate what your cost of attendance is going to be? It's your school's retail sticker price minus scholarships that you receive, and then below that is your net cost. But how much aid can your school give you? Okay, let's say it's your school's retail sticker price minus your expected family contribution, and that's the school's maximum need-based aid they can issue you. Basically, your expected family contribution, if your school that you want to attend is going to cost $30,000, and your expected family's contribution is $10,000, that's what the federal government, based on your FAFSA filing, feels that you can pay as a maximum each year. So you've got $30,000 in retail sticker price, you got an expected family contribution of $10,000. The difference is going to be the maximum amount of need-based aid that your school can give you. In this instance, $20,000. So if it costs $30,000 retail sticker and your EFC, expected family contribution, is $10,000, the school can give you up to $20,000. Now, the school you want to attend, the college you want to attend, is probably not going to give you $20,000 unless you're a rock star. You got grades, you got scores, you got an extracurricular. They're going to probably give you a little bit less unless they really, really want you. The other thing is they can give it to you in multiple components. They can give it to you in scholarships, grants, love it, free money, you don't have to pay back, or they can give it to you in loans. We say it on to college, don't borrow more than $5,000 total per year. Don't borrow more than $5,000 total per year. The school's going to say, hey, no problem, borrow 10, borrow 12 grand a year. No, you got to pay it back. The school gets all the money right up front. No, you be smart about how much money you're going to borrow. And then the other thing they can give you is work study. Work study. 10 hours a week of working at the library, 10 hours a week of working on campus, that's not going to hurt you. But that's probably the maximum you want to do. So retail sticker minus your expected financial contribution, which is what the FAFSA will dictate, is the maximum amount of need-based aid they can give you. And you want that to be a ton of scholarship, free money you don't have to pay back. And that's going to be based on your grades, your scores, and one extracurricular. Grades and scores and one extracurricular. Again, just because you're eligible for need-based aid doesn't mean the school is going to give it to you. You want to take care of your grades, your scores, and one extracurricular, and kaboom, watch all the dough that the school is going to give you. All right, decision time. When you're trying to figure out what school to attend, remember, you want money to be part of it. Unless you're rolling in dough and you can pay it, you want to make sure you minimize your costs and be sure to minimize your loan. How much do we suggest is the maximum you would borrow per year? $5,000 a year, $5,000 a year. So, especially with private colleges, they have discretion. So you want to respectfully negotiate, which is why you want to have in your list of colleges, and it's the fall for seniors as we speak right now, among your list of colleges, you want to have some money schools. Schools are going to be lower cost for you, and at the very least you can use them as bargaining chips. You want to use them as bargaining chips. And the moment though you pay your deposit, the moment you accept the school, your ability to negotiate obviously is over, just like a car. Okay, so be sure you share with the school you really want to attend the fact that there are other options that are a fair amount cheaper, and let's see if they respond, and you kind of decide what is the amount that would make you go. But don't deny yourself, if money's an issue, the opportunity to negotiate. Having a bargaining chip or two lower cost colleges can really help your leverage in that negotiation. With public colleges, University of Wisconsin, University of Missouri, Michigan State, University of Nebraska, they typically don't have discretion to negotiate. They typically follow a formula. Okay, so this is with private colleges. Private colleges like Washington University of St. Louis, Beloit College, Morningside College, Nebraska Wesleyan, fabulous private colleges all over the country. Typically they have a little more discretion. You might negotiate. Now, early admission options. If federal aid is essential, you may want to apply early action. Okay, and early action is an earlier deadline, November 1. It's non-binding, so you can still negotiate. If you need federal aid, you're filling out your FAFSA, you want to get aid eligibility from the school you attend. Applying early decision is a little risky because it's binding, and typically they don't tell you your financial aid offer until the spring. It's like agreeing to buy a car because you love the car, but you don't know what it's going to cost until 4 months later. Yeah. So early action, no problem. Non-binding might help you get in. Early decision, if you're looking for financial aid, unless the college promises they're going to tell you right then in December, if they let you in, what exactly the cost is, probably can't do it. All right, so I wouldn't typically apply early decision unless you can financially commit to whatever the price point is. And typically they don't tell you the price point until the spring. All right, here we go. FAFSA tips. When determining your eligibility for need-based aid, they look at a lot of pools of dough that your family has. And one pool of dough is the savings your parents have and the savings the child has. Well, the savings that parents have, only 5.64% of that is considered eligible for paying for the student's college. 20% of the student's savings is considered eligible. So what do we want to do? Keep the money in the parent's name. Okay, moment it's in the student's name, it's going to count a lot more. It's going to penalize you a lot more. So these students who work really hard and save up a bunch of dough from all these jobs they've had in high school to pay for college may make them less eligible for need-based aid, may actually cost them money in financial aid they would have otherwise received. Keep the money in the parent's name. Number two, these college savings plans, 529 plans, awesome. And no matter whose name they're in, the kids, the parents, they're only considered a parental asset. Again, only 5.64% count. If the parents are divorced, have the child live with the parent that makes a lot less dough. So if the parent, if the two parents, one parent makes a lot more than the other, live with the parent that makes less money. Okay, and so the custodial parent makes less money. That can be helpful. I'll tell you why in a second. And during the student's 4 years in college, at most, nobody graduates late, everyone graduates on time, or 2 years at a community college, graduate on time. Try to avoid big financial events, like not the time to spend dough on lottery tickets probably. Also, cashing out retirement plans, don't do it. Stock options, don't do it. Wait till the youngest child is already graduated. And if all possible, you want as many children in college at the same time. It's going to be rugged paying for it all while those kids are there, but If you can get 2 or 3 going at the same time, you can get 2 or 3 for the price of one. The family's expected financial contribution is the same no matter how many kids are going to college. So if you can maybe take the older one and have the older one do a gap year, starts college a year later, maybe the younger one accelerates, starts a semester early, so we've got 2 or 3 going at the same time, you can get more kids through for less. That's a tip for those of you who are family planning. Have the children like every 10, 11 months apart. Okay, now, last slide. There's something called the CSS Profile. The FAFSA is required by every college. There are about 400 colleges that require this second form. It's called the CSS Profile. And these are colleges that are typically more selective, but frankly, the vast majority require the CSS Profile. Now, the CSS Profile assists schools in the awarding of non-federal institutional aid. This is the aid that the school is going to award. The CSS Profile collects information about that the FAFSA does not. Home equity, assets from the non-custodial parent. Okay, unlike the FAFSA. So if all you have to do is submit the FAFSA and the parents are divorced, they never see the assets of the non-custodial parent. Why you want to live with the lower income parent. If you only submit a FAFSA, they never know how much home equity the family has. So you want to plow dough into the home. By the way, CSS Profile and the FAFSA, neither of them look at retirement savings. So another technique to maximize eligibility for need-based aid is plow everything possible into retirement. The kids' retirement, students' retirement, the parents' retirement, all of that is invisible to the college when determining eligibility for need-based aid. So this is a trick, this is a technique that some families will use. Parents are divorced, and this is not a reason to get divorced. On to college, big fan of families that stay together. The one spouse, one parent makes a lot more than the other. And so much so that there's no way the family would be eligible for need-based aid. Well, live with the non-custodial parent and only apply to colleges that don't require a CSS Profile. All those colleges are blind to the income of the higher earning parent. What are colleges that don't require a CSS Profile? This is what we've found, and this is a kind of a mystery, so you're going to really triple check this. But Centre College, a fabulous small college in Danville, Kentucky, Hope College up in Michigan, these are great small liberal arts colleges. They do a great job preparing kids for medical school as well. Kalamazoo College in Michigan, Mercer College, Penn State, Princeton, you want to double check that one, Rochester, Rutgers. There's a long list that we found at profile.collegeboard.org, and check out this website. These are the schools that only look at a FAFSA. They won't also look at the CSS Profile, which provides a lot more detailed information about the family's finances. The FAFSA, don't be intimidated by it. Fill it out, take care of it in October, and it'll help you reel in all sorts of federal aid, and it'll basically illustrate to the school you ultimately want to attend what in fact you're eligible for, and then depending on how attractive an applicant you are, they will meet your need. They will meet your need. Basically, college is unlike any other product. Your ultimate price point is affected by your ability to pay it. So everyone who comes from a low-income family should know that the price for college can be dramatically lower if you entice the college to meet your need. And how will you do that? Take care of grades, scores, and one extracurricular. Grades, scores, and one extracurricular. And every October, prior to every fall that you're going to matriculate, have the family fill out that FAFSA. Every year, fill it out. There's some nightmare stories out there where they filled it out for the freshman year of college, forgot to fill it out the second year, child's about to go back for sophomore year. Yeah, there's no more financial aid based on need because they didn't fill out the FAFSA. FAFSA, not that complicated. Got to attack it though in October. Talk to a financial consultant, the one you trust, who's an expert on college finance, to make sure you're doing it right. Now, at On to College, we help with families do this all the time. And not just the FAFSA, but also with the entire college application process. Check us out at ontocollege.com. We're back next month talking about the scholarship search. All righty. And I'm looking at cool questions that were hit with me today. I didn't get to them. Sorry about that. But we'll be back next month. I'll try to follow up on any questions. But don't delay. As I speak right now, we're already 2-3 weeks into the initial deadline, or the initial week when the FAFSA could have been filled out. The old days, you'd wait till January, not anymore. Now it's October. Take care of it. And you can check out more at ontocollege.com.